And we want to tie that a little bit in today for a little bit of humanitarian stuff.
Very good.
Dixie Karen Share is the local food bank here, and they're always looking for donations.
They are.
Okay, and I was listening to a radio show one day driving down the road. I always listen to talk radio. I just like information. I enjoy it.
That's a good thing. I want you to know.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So I'm listening one day, and there's a guy on the radio talking, and he's talking about they run basically some version of a soup kitchen.
Okay.
And he says when we, on the radio, he's telling people how they wanted donations. And he says, we do not want your canned product. We really don't want your product at all. What we want is your cash. Because he says what we do with it is we go down and we buy bulk product. And we can feed so many more people off the bulk product in our soup kitchen than if you come down for the same amount of money you hand us a can of pork and beans, whatever you've spent on that, we can go 4-6 times more people fed if we can buy the bulk product and run it through our kitchen and make the meals and serve it that way. And that's how their operation worked. Well, I thought about that, and one of my, the scouts do the can drive.
Right.
It's a good thing, but it's the same principle. One of the things that we've done at the store, and I haven't got it done this year, it's going to happen still, but for the last couple of years, I don't know if we've done it 2 or 3 times, we really can't remember now, we've ordered in a pallet of bulk foods. We call the Care and Share, and we say, look, here's a list of products. What do you need? And out of that list, I know the last time we did it, one of them I'd put on it was 50-pound bags of oats. And they said, we got plenty of oats. But they didn't have cornmeal or 9-grain or cereal or germade or enough beans or whatever. And so we ordered up a pallet of food and shipped it to them. But we call them and kind of says, what do you need first? Again, my philosophy is for the same amount of money that it costs to do that, we can feed probably 4 to 6, even 8 times more people than if I just went down local grocery store and bought a whole pile of canned goods because it's a lot more expensive. You just don't get as much food. And they, as far as I understand, they really don't run a kitchen there and feed meals. What they do is they take the product, especially a bulk product, they break it down into baggies, and they hand it to people who can go home and then cook their meal.
Oh, yeah.
But again, the bulk, and you can do that. You can take that bulk product, you can go buy bulk product a lot of places. And if you donate it in that way, your money will just go so much further. And I'm sure they would take cash. And if they had cash to buy food, I'm pretty sure they would be buying more of the bulk things or really specific things that they know they're short on. And so my plug kind of is how do you make your money go the furthest in the charities that you support? And that's a great charity in our area. And I guess I'm putting in a plug for give them things that give them more.
That's excellent. I mean, it obviously makes incredible sense to do that. And congratulations to you. Nicely done, I think, to think of that, have that done, and I'm sure they appreciate it. And again, a good idea for people. You can go out and buy bulk products and, be good, but be good and make it go longer. How about that?
There you go. Well, just more cost effective.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, and our store, we do food storage. We help people with food storage. We have all kinds of food storage available. We have bulk, but you still have to put it in some form of a container to protect it. We have it already canned up. We have some that's pre-bucketed, etc. But I'm a broken record down at the store. When people come in and talk to us about food storage, I look at them. Most of the world, if you look at what most of the world eats, it falls into some form of bean, and then grains, and the major grains are wheat, rice, corn, and wheat, rice, and corn are the 3 biggies.
Right.
That and beans. Somewhere in the mix, most of the world lives on that. Well, guess what we tell people to do in food storage? The very same thing.
Yeah. Right.
What's the most cost-effective foods you can buy? Grains and beans. So we look at them and say, look, if you cover grains, beans, salt, sugar, milk, your necessities are covered. And that's really what we're saying, the same thing about the humanitarian aid. If you can help cover people in those areas, you've at least helped provide them with their life-sustaining needs. And there's more people who need now than ever before. But in your own personal food storage program, we tell you to do the same thing because you get a lot of food for very little money, and it goes a long way. Then we look at it and say, okay, once you accomplish that, you get what you need in that, then look at the fruits and the vegetables, which are very important,
Yes.
but a lot more costly. Okay, then you look at those things, and there is a possibility if you're eating your food storage, maybe you can have a garden, maybe you have a fruit tree. But I got news: the average person can't produce much corn, beans, wheat, or rice in their backyard.
Right.
It's a big production deal. It's big fields that generally produce those type of products. A beet and a carrot and a peach tree, yeah, you might have that. And that's all fantastic, and that can
Right.
supplement your storage. But that's, again, one of the reasons we tell people, start with your basics first. The things you reasonably can't produce on a large scale and make it anywhere near economical, in a flower pot or in your backyard in a garden or
And
however you
grow
garden.
box there or
Grow
something.
box, yes. Grow
Absolutely.
box of wheat's not going to work out so well.
Absolutely. Yeah, as you were talking, I was just in there thinking, I have an apricot tree in my backyard, and it's produced unbelievably well for several years now. Knock on wood, it keeps doing that there. But as you were talking there, I thought, yeah, I go out and it has, it's bowed down with this. But, after you work with that, and it probably equates to, a couple of weeks worth maybe of product there for my family.
Right.
And that's it.
Right.
For the season.
Yes, because that apricot's clear full of water.
Yeah, that's
you
absolutely
squeeze
right.
that water out of it. There's not a lot left when you dry them down. If you dry them, bottle
and
them,
we do,
whatever
yeah.
you do, and that's true. And so the other thing about that apricot tree is how many times has it been froze out?
A couple of times.
Okay. I know growing up as a kid, my mom always did a lot of home canning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we do home canning as well, but I can remember, and we had peach orchards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can remember as a kid growing up, we went out and picked the peaches in August, and we had people come to the house. We sold them bushels of peaches. We took orders. I mean, that was a big deal
Right,
when I was
yeah.
and my dad had peach orchards, and when he was a kid, his daddy had even more. Half of Leeds was a peach orchard at one time. All up the whole east side of Leeds was just one, and they shipped peaches from there.
Yeah.
So I kind of grew up, I never was involved in that, but my dad always had an orchard and we always picked. But I can remember my mom, she'd always bottle. We were always eating fruit that was bottled 2 or 3 years ago because she always wanted to be at least 2 years ahead on her bottled fruit, because she says, we've seen 2 years in a row where the peach orchards got froze.
Right.
And we didn't get a single peach. So even though you have things like that, you definitely cannot guarantee that you're going to get it. We've got some trees that the birds get a good share of them.
I've had that happen too. Yeah, birds are really happy around my place from time to time.
If you got a dozen cherry trees and lose half of it to the birds, you still have half left. If you have one cherry tree, you lose the whole tree to the birds. So there's things that you can still
Sure.
lose, those type of products. So I'm really big on having your food storage as your food storage. It's something you've put away, you've got in reserve. If the crops freeze, if the rabbit eats your pea crop, in your garden, or the dog digs it up. I mean, there's just so many reasons and ways you can lose your crop. But if you have it set aside in a storage program, whether you just need it for whatever reason, then you've got something, and you just hope that you can do all the fresh things that we normally want to do. But again, they're not guaranteed.
Right. Do you know there are squirrels and chipmunks in this area?
Yes, there are.
I figured you knew that.
And raccoons. And
Yes. And right in the city, I found that out last year. There's a big gray squirrel out there. Anyway, you're right. There's a lot of things that can happen, and obviously the most we can do to try to prepare for those things, you don't know, but getting the food storage. And again, just having the bulk there, knowing that it's there. It made me think, too, as you mentioned, I was talking to a couple of people who had been down to South America, and I don't know why it came up, but they said, you know what they eat? Rice and beans. Rice and beans.
All the time.
Rice and beans, but it sustains life. They don't have a lot of money. A lot of people know. Yeah, it is sustaining, and at least you can get on with rice and beans. And, of course, the whole idea for food storage is when there's nothing else available, and hopefully the day doesn't come, but it might, we need to have something that will sustain us for a fair amount of time.
well, and rice and beans are simple pot cooking.
Yes, exactly. Easy
Okay,
to handle.
oats, things like that. Wheat, for most people, you can boil wheat and eat it as a boiled wheat cereal. It's kind of chewy, but you don't have to grind wheat. But most people are accustomed to flour,
Right.
and making things out of flour. So a wheat, and we preach a lot of wheat because it is the least expensive product. gives you the most bang for the buck by far. Nothing even comes close to wheat as far as that goes. Rice, I don't think, is nearly as nutritional, and a lot of the rices they eat in other places aren't just plain white rice that we eat here. That's, again, pretty low nutritional value when it's all said and done, if it's not blended with other foods to make, it break down and be useful. But yeah, your basics really, really go a long way. We have a lot of people come in, and they talk to us. Well, do you finance food storage plans? Do you do a monthly ship program, et cetera, et cetera? Most of the people we sell our food storage to is right here in the local area. We have about 250 different number 10 cans. It's the largest selection of food storage I know of anywhere in the world as far as a variety and availability in a one-stop shop. Okay. And no, we don't finance food storage. And we really don't set up this monthly thing because it's so easy to do it yourself. All you've got to do is come in once a month. We usually have 3 or 4 products up front that we do as a monthly special right by the door. You never can go wrong with those typically because we're running those as a special. We bought extra just for that. And so if every month you just make it a goal, I'm going to go in and I'm going to buy X amount of food, spend X amount of dollars on a monthly basis. It's amazing how fast you can accumulate and get a food storage program going if you just simply make that decision that every month. We've got customers now that have come in literally now for several years, and they come in religiously once a month and they buy their box of food. Usually one case, and they usually buy a basic item or two. They buy a couple of fluff items. For me, fluff items is fruits and vegetables even, because they're the more expensive items.
Right.
But it gives them a good, well-rounded variety. And so you can take advantage of that and make that part of your New Year's thing, or even still Christmas gifts, by coming in and doing things like that for Christmas. We've had people come in several times over the years, and with fairly large families, and they bought a solar oven for Christmas for everyone in the family. And they just says, look, they're going to need this one day. We really believe that. And so they can set it aside. Even if they don't use it today, it'll be sitting there for them when they need it. So there's many ways to get going on your food storage. Again, look at your basics first. Make sure you've got them covered. General rule of thumb, you need about 500 pounds of dry food product to feed a person for a year. And that, for most people, will maintain body weight. But it takes 500 pounds of food for the average person just per year. And so that's the easiest way to calculate your food storage, is look at the food weight. You can do it by calorie. It's just more complicated. You have to look at the can, look at how many servings, times it by the calories.
Do it easy for me, please.
Yeah, pounds are way easier. And then you just got to make sure you're getting a good variety. If you put away, so I've had people tell me, I got 2,000 pounds of wheat, I'm set. Nope, you're going to die. You're not going to enjoy life at all, and you're going to get sick if all you have to eat for a year would be just wheat. Okay? Even though, boy, we preach wheat like crazy.
Right.
You need a good variety. There are a lot of grains. Same with beans. Your favorite bean may be black, it may be pinto, it may be kidney. But if that's the only bean you put in your food storage, that is not going to be a delightful bean 6 months down the road or 3 months, considering how spoiled our taste buds are today.
Right. See, I feel like I'm the classic example of what not to do, because you go over the things and think, okay, yeah, I did that. Oops. Because when I first bought, years and years ago, they came, and actually it was, I don't know, some business come around to our home. They went down knocking on doors, and here's a plan. It looks pretty good to me. And I bought basically, as I recall, it's like 200-pound bags of wheat. That's the first thing I bought. And I thought, wow, I've got my food storage going here. So I put them in my basement, and they stayed in my basement. And they stayed in my basement, and then I went down to eat a little bit, and they'd already gone. I mean, this was over a period of years. I didn't use it. I didn't really want to. I don't know why I bought the stuff, to be honest, except that was it. That's all I had. So what you're saying here is absolutely, it's good to have the wheat, and I probably should have used it more and rotated. There's a lot of things you can do and you guys will help them out there with food storage there.
Yeah, we don't twist anybody's arm when we talk to people about food storage. We spend half of our life when we talk about food storage just on the what's and hows and the differences. It always amazes me when people come in and they'll ask for a specific product. Like they'll say, we want everything freeze dried. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you want everything freeze dried? Well, we heard it tastes better. Well, let's explain this. Freeze dried does taste better. Okay, sealed in a can, it does last longer. All right, and it rehydrates a little quicker and easier. Those are all true. Now that's the big plus to freeze dried.
Yeah,
but there's some negatives. Negatives to freeze dried are take 3 to 4 times the storage space on average. Because it's a lighter, fluffier product. They can't get as much in a can, so it takes more cans of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Once you open it, it goes bad faster. And it costs, as an average, 2 to 8 times more than its dried counterpart. So it's not a right or a wrong. It's choice. But we actually, if people give us a second, we actually show them those things. Here's a can of freeze-dried green beans. Here's a can of dried. It takes 4 cans of freeze-dried to equal 1 dried. They cost the same price per can or within 30 or 40 cents. So it's literally 4 times as much to buy the freeze-dried green beans as it is the dried. Now, I feel good about explaining that to people because now they can make a choice. That makes sense to them. And if it's still freeze-dried, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay, if that's what they want. But so many people we do that to, I think I'll take the dried one, because it's so much more costly. But they had no idea because nobody had ever just stopped and explained to them what the difference was, what they were getting for the money they were spending. And so we like to do that for people because, again, I've used the example here several times about the guy who walks in, he's got $100 to spend. I can send him out with some really nice pre-made expensive food, give him 4 cans that'll feed him for, actually only 3 to 4 cans, which will feed him 4 to 5 days. And all he does is add water, it tastes good. Oh, that's fantastic. Or for that same $100 bill, I can set him up with a good list of basic products that will feed him for over 30 days.
Wow.
That's how big the difference is on the extremes. And we explain that. And it only takes us a minute. I've done it a lot. I'm good at doing it fast.
He's practiced first. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, we probably ought to tell you where we're at.
That'd be a good idea.
We're down on 900 South Bluff in the Holiday Square. If you've ever heard of Crowshaw's Pies or Tom's Delis, we're down there. We've got a good staff. Everybody's friendly. They're willing to help you, willing to talk to you about food storage or any of the hardware products that we've got as well. We'll explain them to you to the best of our knowledge. We'll always give you the pluses and minuses so that you can make your best decision. And again, a lot of these things, it's not right or wrong. It's a choice. And some things, there are no choices. Nobody has freeze-dried wheat. It's just not done.
Right.
Okay. Nobody. But on the other hand, I can't get a dried cranberry or a dried strawberry. I can get them freeze-dried. So some things really are only available one way or the other. But a lot of them, there is a choice. A lot of the vegetables, you've got either a freeze-dried or a dried. And so you get to choose between them. We have a lot of sample cans open so you can see it, taste it, touch it. Eat it, see what it's like, you can make some comparisons. It's funny that we've got a dried banana and a freeze-dried banana. And it's about a 50-50 split on that one. And there's a huge price difference. Now, I really like the freeze-dried banana personally. I think, boy, those are just so good. But the dried banana is about 4 times cheaper, and there are a lot of people who actually prefer it. And so, boy, that's a real win-win on that one. If you prefer the dried one and it's cheaper. But we're down there. The name of our store is Your Family Still Matters, but the sign on the building, in the unit we're in, down there on 900 South Bluff, it says paintball, food storage, violins, and band. We wear a number of hats.
Yes, you do.
And we switch them frequently. Okay, so, but food storage is the real passion of the store for me. It's the thing I've done the longest. But we do the other things, and I mean, we've got a huge selection of violins. We usually have over 100 hanging there in stock, and that's about a fourth of our inventory of violins because we buy them way in advance and let them acclimate to our area before we set them up and put them out. But food storage is really the passion of the store for me. I want to see people get prepared. I think they need to get prepared. I just believe I'll live to see the day that we're going to have to use the products that we put away, not only for ourselves, but also help a neighbor as well.
Yeah.
The time will come. And so we would love to have you come down. We've also got a website. It's called fullbellyinsurance.com. You can look at a lot of our products there. We don't have them all there. Our website, we've got another little interesting thing that we do. Paracord bracelets and things are a real hot national trend. And we have the largest selection of colors of paracord of anyone I know in the nation on our website. We only keep a handful at the store compared to what you can order off the web. But if you decided you want to look at our website, you can do the will call option and just pay for it, and we'll pack it up and have it at the store the next day by about 2 o'clock.
Wow.
And then you can just come in and get it. You just pick it up. Or you can just come down. We've got, a paracord down there and a good selection of colors, but we just have a much larger selection. We just don't have the physical space to show it all in the store. But it's a fun thing. Kids do it as a hobby. They make these survival bracelets, they're called.
Right.
They make dog leashes. They make belts. They make gun slings. All kinds of stuff out of paracord. It's a great little stocking stuffer. Some paracord and buckles, or it's a great thing to stick in a 72-hour kit, just a roll of it to have there. It's a 550-pound test. It's very durable and strong. But again, we're down on 900 South Bluff in the Holiday Square. We're on the Black Hill side of Bluff Street. There's a stoplight there at 900 South, and as soon as you pull in, you head towards Black Hill, take an immediate left into the shopping center, and again, the sign on our unit says paintball, food storage, violins, and band.
With a sign like that, you can't miss it, folks. Let me just tell you. And we're running out of time here, but I'll tell you what, Christmas is a great time to do something. My wife and I, a couple of years ago, we've done it several times, actually. That's the Christmas to the family. And I know I feel a lot better about the Christmas gifts because the others batteries will run out quickly anyway. So
that's
Shane,
true.
It's a pleasure. Always good to have you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, that'll wind it up, your Family Matters program for this, a Friday morning edition on News Talk 890 KDXU. Good morning now.